All right, we're live. We are live, baby. We are live. I want to talk about reinvigorating your life today. This is a big topic because there's a lot of people who are not like living to their full potential, right? There's a lot of people who get distracted with life. And sometimes, we go down paths in life that kind of siphons our energy. It siphons our hope. It siphons, the innocence that we had when we were children, right? And so we get to a stage in life where we feel unmotivated and uninspired and distracted with things that are not really good for us, right? Whether it's people, the other stuff, you know what I mean? Like, we just kind of get off track, right? We get off track, we get depleted, if you will, right? There's a lot going on in the world, right? There's a lot going on. So today I want to talk about just a few ways you can reignite your life. It's really important. No matter what age you are, it's really important to reignite your life, right? As a therapist, I talk to people in all stages of life, and the sad part is when I get a client that they just don't have what it takes inside of them at the time, right? They don't have what it takes inside of them, right? Inside of them is the key word. We need something inside of us to reignite our life. And so I want to help you guys today, reignite your life, okay? Because no matter what I've been through in life, and many of you know my story, no matter what I've been through the worst of pretty much everything. And there's only one or two things that really has helped me reignite my life. And that is my spiritual relationship with God and my mindset, right? And I don't really like the word mindset because it's so vague. It's like, well, what does that mean, right? They use that word like it's nothing, right? But it's such a substantial word. It has such substantial meaning to it. Your mindset. What does that mean, right? So in my chapter or in my book, one of my chapters is refusing to fail. The superpower of refusing to fail, right? And so I've always had this mindset that I refuse to whatever it is. I refuse to give up, right? I refuse to fail. I refuse to lose. I refuse to die. I just refuse. You know what I mean? And so that has to come from inside of you, right? And so many of my clients, it's frustrating, it's heartbreaking, it's sad when people are stuck on the couch or they're stuck in their bed and they just kind of have lost their energy. They've lost their vision. They've lost their zest for life. And maybe they never even had it. So I want to talk to you about how to get it too, right? How do you get this zest for life? Because let me tell you something. Life really, for real, life really doesn't start until you're like 40, right? Everything prior to 40 is like training. It's just like you're just doing stuff, and everybody's different. So granted, based on the quality of family you grow up with, your resources, what you have access to, the wisdom, the intelligence, the healthy behaviors of your parents and your family and your environment, there are things that help to influence people to be on track in life earlier than some other people, right? Like me. It took me a long time because I didn't have those resources or people or wisdom or parents, right? So it's good to have these fundamental things in place. But many of us, don't. And there goes my dog. And for those of us who don't, it takes us a little while to either get on track, or if we get on track at all, right? And so people lose their zest, right? Because the brain is created in such a way that we have the subconscious mind, we have the conscious mind. And so the subconscious mind doesn't really want to exert a whole lot of energy if it's interpreting its life as or its experiences, your experiences, as defeated or unrewarding, right? So we have a dopamine center in our brain that sends chemicals throughout our body when we do feel like we achieve, or when we do feel like we're in alignment, right? When we're in alignment and when we are achieving and when we feel good about ourselves and when we're doing the work that's meaningful in our life, we have a different experience than people who don't, right? And that's really important to understand because we want to replicate that, okay? We want to replicate that. So it's important to understand when we talk about reigniting your life or reinvigorating your life, it's really important that we understand there are stages to life, right? There are stages to life. And so we got to understand what stage we're in, right? And we got to understand the structure. When we think about reigniting, we got to understand how life is structured so we can identify where in the structure did things go wrong, right? Where in the structure did I get off track, right? And so it could be someone else's fault. It could be because of our parents or whatever the case may be. We didn't get taught how to follow our dream, right? You want to follow your joy to create your dream, to identify your dream, right? And so sometimes we don't learn that lesson. And so let's talk about the structure of life for a minute so that you understand what stage you're in. So from birth to 18, let's just use that as an example. This is your fundamental developmental years, right? You're being developed, and you're being developed predominantly by your environment, right? And so for the majority of years up until 25 years old, we predominantly have a subconscious mind. We're working from our subconscious mind, which is our emotional mind. So we interpret our experiences and we interpret life through our emotions, right? We haven't really activated or we haven't started really using our conscious mind. Now, some people do and some people don't. So just in general, we'll just talk about generalities. For the most part, many people don't start using their conscious mind because it's still developing until the age of, give or take, 25 years old, right? And so you're in this fundamental developmental stage. And when you think about that, what are you doing during those times? You're learning habits. You're being educated. Your culture is influencing your mindset and your thoughts and your behaviors and your likes and your, all these things that contribute to your personality. So you're developing your personality during these years, right? And then so once we get around, 18 years old, give or take, we start looking into relationships. So now another stage of our life is relationships, right? Now all throughout we're making relationships with our peers, but then we start thinking, not really thinking, but we kind of fall into relationships, right? And maybe we hook up with the right people and maybe we don't, right? Based on whatever we were exposed to in our upbringing. So this is really important to understand how you evolved, right? Because every decision you make is influenced by your history, okay? So if you're in a dysfunctional relationship today, you can kind of look in your history and pinpoint why you are in this dysfunctional relationship. And conversely, if you're in a healthy relationship, you can look back in your life and figure out why. What helped me learn how to be in a healthy relationship. You understand? And so throughout these first 18 to 25 years, we also experience traumas, right? We experience traumas, and we experience cultural routines and cultural norms and things of this nature. And so this is how we begin life, right? And all of these things influence us. So based on all of this, really, it predicates how we're going to evolve into the future, right? And so something happens along this journey where we hit a point in life, and this is why it's very important to understand what stage of life you're in. We hit this point in life where we begin to realize, right? We realize where we are in life. We begin to see our surroundings. We begin to awaken. Now, everybody awakens at a different point in life. I didn't awaken until I was 37 years old, right? And so I presume most people awaken earlier than that, right? And it's good. It's very, very, very good. The earlier you can awaken and the earlier you can start identifying where you are in life, it informs you, right? So you're not living life in oblivion. And oftentimes that's what happens, because this is the secret that many people don't understand, is that even though we become adults, we are just children in bigger bodies, right? Because if our mind has not evolved, if our mind hasn't become more intelligent, then our mind is the byproduct of all of our life experiences, right? And so what do we begin to do? We replicate childhood decision making. We replicate in adulthood. We are replicating the traumas. We are replicating, maybe not exactly, but however, whatever it is that we experienced in life, that is informing and it's influencing the decisions we make in adulthood. And so if we come from a family of poverty, unless someone has educated us from birth to 18 to 25, if someone has educated us on how not to live in poverty, chances are that we're going to replicate that, because that's from which we came from, right? This is what they say, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree or something like that, right? And so there's a lot of resemblance between your adult ages, especially 20 to 30 to even 35. Hopefully by 35, we're starting to make some changes. But if we don't get the wisdom, how do we know to do anything different? Right? And this is why exposure is really important. This is why travel is really important. This is why mentorship is really important. This is why reading personal growth and development books are really important. This is why being inspired by other people is really important, right? My mentor for the last, 10 or 15 years has been Jennifer Lopez, because we have a lot in common. We're both from New York. We're both Puerto Rican. We both took the trains, so I resonated with her when she came out. And, over the years, she has taught me, how to be a person of excellence. And that was really critical for me in my evolution, because I come from foster care. I come from poverty. I come from abuse. I come from abandonment, neglect, and trauma. Right? And that was replicated in my early stages of life. I was in dysfunctional relationships. I was in abusive relationships with men. I was self-medicating with alcohol. I didn't understand how, first of all, I didn't understand I had personal power, right? And so therefore I didn't understand how to create my life. I didn't understand I could create a vision and make a plan and prepare and, all of that kind of thing. So understanding that we oftentimes replicate what we were exposed to in childhood until we awaken to greater wisdom. Super important, right? This is why I created a literacy program for foster children, because if it wasn't for me reading the books, I would know 99% of what I know today. I'm a beast. I'm a beast with it. You know what I mean? Like my money, my mind, my relationships, my peace, my friendships, decision making, how to pick quality people in my life, preparing for future generations. Like, I got it. You know what I mean? I got the message. But I got the message because I got into the books and I started finding mentors, right? So when we talk about reigniting your life, which is the topic of today's video, we have to understand what stage of life we're in and why we need our life to be reignited and reinvigorated. And so at some point, you know, we want to begin to process our life, right? We want to, you know, I always say like the great equalizer in life, right? Hear me out, because this is for everybody. Everybody doesn't have the same access to resources and money and wisdom and all this, but everybody has access to this. The great equalizer is self-exploration. That is the great equalizer. So it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your circumstances were before. When you become 25 years old, you now have an adult mind. Your brain is fully developed, right? And yes, it's plastic, and yes, it's malleable, and yes, you can improve it and all these things. But for the, you know, for general sakes purposes, you have a fully formed brain at 25 years old, which means your conscious mind, your thinking mind, the executive mind, the decision maker, the rational mind, the logical mind, the willpower, all of this is fully developed. And we didn't have that in childhood. We only had our emotional and our instinctual mind, right? So the brain's an organ. It's got three different minds. It has the instinctual mind, has the emotional mind, and then it has the conscious mind, right? And so that's why kids do stupid shit, because they're not conscious, right? They don't have the logic working yet, right? So we take more risks and we do bad behaviors because we're not thinking it through, right? So with age comes wisdom, right? So when you get this fully formed mind, 25 years old, now you have a conscious mind. This is your friend, right? The emotional mind is not really your friend. Its emotions are good to inform you and this, that, and the other thing. That's another video. But your conscious mind is your friend. Because in fact, it's your best friend. Because it wants what's best for you. You just got to learn how to use it. You got to learn how to use your conscious mind. Y'all feeling the love? I like my shirt. I just got it. This is dope, right? So you got this conscious mind now, right? And you want to start exploring your life, exploring yourself, exploring why am I the way I am, right? Why do I do X, Y, and Z? Why do I overreact? Why do I underreact? Why do I hide? Why am I shy? Why am I scared? Why do I drink? Why do I smoke? Why do I fight? Why do I curse? Why do I watch TV so much? Why do I eat junk food? Why do I not have any friends? Why am I not friendly? Why do I not have a dream? Why am I like lonely? What, you want to just start exploring and asking all these questions. And this is where therapy comes in. Is really good. Therapy is really good to process, because now that you have an adult mind, you got to go back and process your whole life, honey. You know what I'm saying? Because at 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, all the way on, you're not the same person anymore, right? We're never the same person. And if we are, we need to stop being, right? If you feel like you are pretty much the same person this year as you were last year and you're not making any progress, you're not doing enough self-exploration. Okay, that's the great equalizer for everybody. Because how many of y'all know it doesn't matter where you start in life? It matters where you finish. You understand? And the greatest equalizer is self-exploration. So you got to know what stage of life you're in. So once you get into this stage of life where you can start exploring yourself and start asking questions, then you have something to work with. Then it's like, okay, knowledge of self is so important. It's preliminary. If you don't have knowledge of self, then you don't understand who you are and why you're doing the things you're doing and why you're working at Walmart versus any other place. And Walmart's a great place to work. No shade on Walmart. But you understand what I'm saying? People who are working at Walmart probably are not working in their God-given talent, gifts, skills, abilities, or interests, right? It's a great job. But the goal in life is not just to work a job. The goal in life is to build your dream, to figure out what is your purpose in life, to figure out what you're here to serve humanity with, right? This is where it gets good, because just working a job is miserable. It's survival, right? And so you want to move from survival to creation. Yeah, that's what you want right there, baby. That's what you want right there. You want to create your life. You don't want to just survive your life. You want to create that joker. Yeah, that's good right there. That's the sweet spot. When you know you want to start creating your life, boy, can't nobody tell you nothing. Can't nobody tell you nothing. Because when you want to start creating your life and you get tapped into your gifts, your talents, your skills, your interests, man, come on. You tapping into like a pot of gold, because that's where everything is. It's not in survival. Survival keeps us small. Survival keeps us unhappy. It keeps us angry. It keeps us depleted. It's energetically death. Nah, you don't want to be in survival. You want to thrive. You want to be in creation. Yeah. So think about that while I sip my tea. That's a good thought right there. I love tea. Y'all like this cup? Ain't this a dope cup? I found this at a store, and I've never seen it. It was a set. It was like a set of 4 or 8 of these, and 4 or 8 plates, and 4 or 8 saucers. And I think it was created, I don't know. Let me not guess, because I don't know. But beautiful artistry, right? So, hey, this is a great example. The person who created this, they're in their gift, right? Yeah, they could have worked at Walmart. They could have worked at McDonald's. They could have worked at Pet Boys. They could have worked in, or even, listen, it's not just that. It's also VPs, CEOs of companies that aren't in alignment, that's not their gift. But this is the path they've taken for money or for prestige or because they didn't know any other, better. But that's not bringing them joy and happiness, right? It's when we start serving humanity with our gift and our talent and our skills and our abilities and our interests. That's when you reignite your life. So that is the sweet spot. That's how you reignite your life. So if you can get in there, if you can get in, clank, clank, if you can get into the groove of what this is for you, your life dramatically shifts. That's how I went from foster care to being abused, to being a runaway, to dropping out of high school, to spending 20 years in a career field I was not in alignment with, to becoming a single mother, not picking the right men to date, not knowing self-respect, self-love, standards, boundaries, and all of that, to drawing the line, and then becoming an author, becoming a person that has a literacy program, becoming a person who opens a nonprofit to help foster children, becoming a PhD, working in my field, in my gift, in my talent as a therapist, and building a business and doing lives like this from a place of reinvigoration, right? There's never a day in my life where I'm bored. Never. I never wake up saying, I don't really know what to do today. Never. I always am locked in. Now, sometimes I'm locked into too many things, right? And if we get locked into too many things, how many of y'all know, what's it called? Jack of all trades, master of nothing, right? So sometimes because of social media and all this stuff, our brain is losing its potential to, or its capacity to focus long term. So you got to really work on that To build anything, you got to work on focus. You got to shut the noise out. You got to stop answering the phone. You got to close the door and stop hanging out and all of that and build your life. But once you get locked in on your talent, gift, skill, ability, or interest, and you do the spiritual work, right? Do the spiritual work to go inward. Don't look on social media for your gift. Don't look on social media and compare yourself to other people. Don't do all that. What you can do is you can be inspired by people, like successful people. Like I was inspired by Jennifer Lopez. I don't look at Jennifer Lopez and say, I wish I was her. That's not what's happening. I don't say I wish I was a dancer or whatever, the things she does. But what I see in her is growth. Like she grew into her life. She grew into her profession. She grew into her success. She grew into, the person that she is. And that's something that a lot of people, we don't know how to do that. And so you can be inspired. There's a lot of people that has inspired me. Arnold Schwarzenegger inspires me. His story is crazy. He didn't even know English. Let me tell you something. People that come from other countries and they don't know English, and they come into this country and they succeed at the highest level, business ownership, becoming the governor of California, whatever the case is, man, I got mad respect for that. That's incredible. That keeps me inspired. That lets me know no matter what I've achieved, girl, you just getting started. You need to you ain't even broke the dirt yet of what's possible, right? Because I look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm like, man. Jennifer Lopez, I'm like, man. That's what they're talking about when they say limitless potential. You have limitless potential. I have limitless potential. We don't know the limit. There is no limit to our capacity, to our knowledge. In this moment, I have no knowledge of the limits to my capacity. Because as long as I can see someone else who is exceeding standards, that are just achieving greatness, as long as I can be inspired by someone else's story, like Viktor Frankl, who he was a psychologist in another country, and he and his family got taken to the concentration camps, and all of his family died. But he survived, and he came out, and he wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning, and he explained, how do you survive? How do you reignite your life after going through years in a concentration camp? As long as there's people out there like that, I'm going to forever grow. I'm going to forever reignite my life. This train ain't stopping, period. I don't care how old I am. I don't care what family I don't have. I don't care what friends I don't have. I don't care what husband I don't have. I don't care what. You understand? I don't care. I give zero value to that stuff when it comes to my potential. Because I see Viktor Frankl. I see Jennifer Lopez. I see Arnold Schwarzenegger. I see people the list goes on and on and on. So for you to reinvigorate your life, I want you to think about having a growth mindset. People who have a fixed mindset limit their capacity. They limit their ability to succeed, to excel, to transform, to chameleonize their life, right? They limit themselves. So I want to encourage you to have a growth mindset. Super important. You need to get inspired. You get inspired by going back to the sweet spot. The sweet spot is self-discovery, self-exploration, right? So get into therapy, get into the personal growth and development books, begin to journal, begin to explore your thoughts, start bringing what's unconscious into consciousness. Because as Carl Jung said, until we bring the unconscious into consciousness, the unconscious will guide our life, and we will call it fate. It will direct our life. The unconscious, the traumas, the abuse, the poverty, the limitations of our environment growing up, whatever we were exposed to is in our subconscious mind. Everything went into our subconscious mind until we were about 7 years old, because we had no frame of reference of anything else. So we absorbed everything through our five senses, and it went into our subconscious mind. And so now your job as an adult, or any age, whatever age you are, if you get this message, you have the capacity to begin. Okay. And so you want to begin to explore all of that, reprocess your childhood, because how many of y'all understand that as adults, we need to unlearn? Child, why ain't somebody tell me that? We need to unlearn a lot of stuff that we learned growing up. Because what we learned growing up were survival skills at the level of our mental capacity during that time period. So however I process life at 10 years old or 12 years old or 5 years old, and usually our life trauma, that significant event that alters our state of mind, that reduces our sense of safety, that begins to make us question ourselves, that kind of separates us from the innocence of who we were to now the awkwardness of who we become as children, right? There's something that happens in our life, and that's in our subconscious mind, right? For me, it was being taken away from my parents and then going into the homes of strangers. I began to live a fear-driven life because every foster home I went to, I was scared, right? And so that was a significant event in my childhood that drastically changed my identity. And so, when they talk about, people need to be authentic and be authentic and be authentic and be authentic, I'm like, that's nice, but that shit is hard as fuck for some people. It is for me. It's very difficult for me to be authentic because I got fragmented shit in my subconscious mind, even to this day, because it doesn't really leave us. It forever alters us. You understand? Those traumatic events forever alter us. And what we got to do as adults is learn how to manage that. And that shit takes work. That's why I became a therapist. Because had I not become a therapist, I wouldn't have done the majority of the work on me that I have done. Because I had to study it. I had to go to school. I had to practice with other people. You know what I mean? I had to build my skill set. And as I'm doing all this, I was doing it on myself. So I've had like 20 years, 30 years of therapy on myself. Not just with another therapist, but me doing the work by becoming a therapist. Because of that significant event that altered my identity. And so I want you to think about for your own life. What happened in your life? Oh, hey, baby Mo. Girl, anytime. You just call me, honey. I got you. I want you guys to think about in your own life. What was that significant event that took you out of innocence and into awkwardness? That took you out of innocence into fear? That took you out of innocence into, just whatever it was. You know what I mean? Whatever that shift was for your life. What happened? Because until you identify that, you haven't brought your unconscious into consciousness. And as Carl Jung said, that unconscious is going to direct your life. You're going to potentially, just like I'll speak about my own life, I was dating men that I didn't know how to qualify, right? How many of y'all understand today, I qualify people. You can't just be anybody and come up in my life because I've worked very hard to build this ecosystem. You understand? And nobody's jeopardizing my ecosystem ever again. I got this on lock. Me and my higher power. And so I got to qualify people. A friend, a business partner, a significant other. But when I was replicating as an adult, which is what we do, when I was replicating my traumas and my abuses in my childhood, right? I didn't know. Nobody told me. Qualify the people you hang with. Qualify yourself. What are your behaviors, right? And so I had to bring all that into consciousness and start working on it. All right. So this is the work that you must do for yourself. Find that significant event, process that, go through the therapy, go through the journaling, go through the self-exploration. You got to do that. That's the midpoint. You can't get into greatness. You can't get into success. You can't get into joy and happiness and peace and all this beautiful stuff that I experienced today, humbly by the grace of God. You can't get into that until you self-explore, until you figure out what was that significant event, what happened, what's in your subconscious mind that's blocking you from progressing in life, right? Bring it into consciousness, do the work. And once you do that, then you can start identifying what's my talent, gift, skill, ability, or interest. Lock in on that and say, okay, how do I use this to serve humanity, right? Because it's one thing to do work that's self-gratifying. It's short-lived. Unless what you're doing serves humanity in some way, shape, or form from your heart, you're not going to experience joy from your work. You're not going to feel fulfilled. You're not going to wake up reignited and reinvigorated every day, remotivated, re-inspired. You're just not going to be able to. You understand? So you want to figure all that out. And then just, create the dream. Create the vision for your future. Create that dream and lock in on that dream. Create your vision board. Write it on a Post-it note. Do whatever you got to do. Color it. Whatever you got to do. Draw pictures and post that joker up somewhere where you could see it, right? And this is why they say write your goals out. And goals are cool too, but I just want to talk about your dream. The goals are a whole different thing. That's the strategy. But just create the picture. My God. Create the picture of what is possible for your future. What do you see? And let me tell you something. You want to revisit that frequently, because as you grow, you're going to improve that vision. Okay? You're going to improve the vision, the dream for your future. All right? So that's my word for y'all today. Just keep walking in that dream. We don't know how things are going to happen. We don't know when things are going to happen, but we can know what it is we want to happen, right? I manifested this home I'm in. I had the vision for this home in my mind for years. It took me about 8 years to get this house. That's another story. It's in previous videos, but I had a hard time getting this house, but I never lost the vision. I lost the contracts. I came up short. It wasn't the right time. I didn't know the location I wanted to live in. I didn't know when I should settle down, because I was out there gallivanting with Jasmine in California, Malibu hopping, living my best life. I wasn't ready to settle down. I was like, do I move to Temecula? Because I surely couldn't afford friggin' LA, a house that I wanted by the water. I ain't there yet, but it's in my dream, honey. It's in my dream. You understand? And if it's in your dream, it will come to pass. It will come to pass, God willing, we have enough time. If you stay focused on that dream, it will come to pass. If you have enough time. That's why we got to get to it. We got to get locked in. We got to clank it. You understand? So I manifested this house. I want you all to understand. What your mind sees, it believes, right? And your brain cannot distinguish between a lived experience and a highly emotional imagined one. So when I was visualizing this house, and so just for clarity, it wasn't this exact house, but it was the structure of the house. It was the vibe of the house. It was the architecture of the house. It was the feel. It was the proximity to the ocean. I'm across the street from the ocean, right? So all of that was in my mind for like 8 years, right? And so I got about 85-90% of the vision exact. I got my hammocks. I got the yard. I got this patio. My bathroom is dope. You know what I mean? But it starts here. So anything in creation has to start here first. All right? The pencil you write with, that was a vision in somebody's mind. This cup, it was a vision in somebody's mind. So whatever you want to create for your life, make a vision for it first. All right, y'all. All right. I love you guys. This is Dr. Cruz. If you need me, I'm on capricruz.com. And let's get to it. Let's reinvigorate your life. Get re-inspired. Do the self-exploration. Get you a mentor. Mine is Jennifer Lopez. As long as she keeps moving, I'm going to keep moving. So you understand, like, it never ends, no matter where you are in life. And I just want to close with this. I was busted. I was dumb. I was unintelligent. I was ignorant. Someone told me, one of my bosses once told me, you're an idiot magnet. My life was a mess. But I want you to know it ain't a mess no more. And neither does yours have to be. So if you feel like your life is a mess, don't look at where you are. You look at where you are to understand what needs to change, but you look into that dream and you figure out the strategy to make that thing happen. And that's where you focus. All right? All right. All my love to you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.